मुनव्वर मेरी आँखों को मेरे शम्सो दुहा कर दे.
Subhanallah. And in a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam was asked by one of his Sahaba kiram, Sayyiduna Sa'd radiyallahu ta'ala, that Ya Rasulullah, pray to Allah that I become mustajabud da'wah. When I make a dua to Allah, it is always accepted. Mustajabud da'wah. Ya Rasulullah, pray to Allah that I become mustajabud da'wah. And Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says that consume only that which is halal. Consume only that which is halal, and Allah will make you mustajabud da'wah. Subhanallah. Which means that Allah accepts the dua of that person who eats halal. So if you eat halal, and if your rizq that you have earned in the market or wherever you work all day or night, if that is halal, and your children are eating halal, and your family is eating halal, then ask Allah for whatever you want. Allah will grant it to you, inshallah. Subhanallah. And what happens when a person eats haram? What happens when a person eats haram? The Sufiya kiram, the ulama kiram, the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they say that when a person eats that which is haram, that is what becomes blood. It becomes dam, blood inside the body. And the heart pumps that blood all throughout the body, through the veins. That blood is made up of haram. And when a person eats haram, consumes haram, then that blood that flows all throughout the body takes that haram into the whole body. And then that blood becomes meat as well. And then your jasad, your jism, the body becomes haram, full of haram. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says, لا يدخل الجنة الجسد الذي غذي بالحرام أو كما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. That body which has become due to haram, which has developed or progressed due to haram, will never enter Jannah. Allahu Akbar. So, O Muslims, if you wish to protect yourself from the fire of hell, if you want your dua to be accepted in the court of Allah, then eat that which is halal. And when you eat that which is halal, then that will flow into your body. And when that flows into your body will become made of halal. And when the body is made of halal, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens to the prayers of that person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts his dua. And today, many people, one of the main complaints that many ulama kiram have today is that I pray to Allah, but Allah doesn't accept my prayer. You pray for me. I pray to Allah, but Allah doesn't accept my prayer, ma'adallah. The reason why is because you are consuming haram. And when you consume haram, then that causes the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the anger of Allah causes the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is our duty as Muslims to protect ourselves from the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you eat halal, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept your prayers. And that is the reason why we should only try and eat halal. Today, if you look around us, if you look into the markets, there are many products which have ingredients on them. They have all these numbers. They have all these small amounts of ingredients. And many a times they are extracts of animals. They are extracts of the swine, the pig, which is haram in Islam. But yet the Muslims do not know, and they consume it. it is the duty of every Muslim to see what he eats before he takes it. And thus the Muslims should consider buying something, they should consider whether it is halal or it is haram. And it is from amongst the rights of the children, and it is from amongst the rights of the wife, that the husband brings home only halal food, nothing but halal. And today we need to contemplate on this. And one of the issues that we face today is halal meat that is halal. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam and the Quran, first the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam have regarded meat as haram. Meat is haram. The essence of meat, the original hukum of meat is that it is always haram unless it is being slaughtered by a Muslim. If it has been slaughtered by a Muslim, then it is halal. Only then does meat become halal. Otherwise, it is always haram. Whereas vegetables, that which grows from the earth, that is always halal until it has been proven haram. And that is why the ulama kiram say that if you have vegetables from a non-Muslim, as long as it apparently looks halal and you cannot see any impurity in it, then that is halal for you to eat. Because the essence of vegetation is that it is always halal unless proven haram. So if you have some vegetables at a non-Muslim's house and you can see no impurity in it, you can see there is nothing haram in it, then you can eat that. But meat, the essence of meat is haram, and thus meat, before you buy it, you should know whether this has been slaughtered by a Muslim or not. And if a Muslim says to you that this is halal and this has been slaughtered by a Muslim, then that is enough. That is enough for you to accept that as halal. But if you know that the meat in this place comes from such and such a place, and in that such and such a place, not all the slaughterers are Muslim, then you must stay away from that meat. Why? Because this is going to go into your body. And this meat is going to become blood in your body, and that will spread into your whole body. And that will stop you from praying salah. That will stop you from acting upon the command of Allah. When a person eats haram, and that becomes blood and it flows all throughout the body, then the ulama kiram say that his body begins to desire haram. He begins to want and desire haram. And he begins to feel lazy from halal. When you tell him to come and perform salah, he says, I feel lazy. I will have to perform wudu. I will have to go to the masjid. I can't do this, I am too tired. Why? Because he is eating haram. And his body is full of haram. And that is why a person becomes lazy from the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why before you eat meat, or you eat anything, you should make sure that this is halal. Shaykh Imam Azam Abu Hanifa radiyallahu ta'ala an, the great faqih, once he heard that a goat, an animal, a goat, had eaten the grass of somebody other than his owner, other than its owner's grass. Meaning a goat was in its owner's land and it was eating grass. It went into the field of another person and it ate some grass from there. And the news went around people. And there was another narration says that somebody stole a goat. And there are different narrations. But when Imam Azam Abu Hanifa radiallahu ta'ala heard of this, he inquired, how long does a goat live for? And when he found out that this is how long a goat lives for, this many years, he didn't eat the meat of a goat for that many years. Because he doubted that if the meat of a goat comes to me, what if it is that goat which ate haram? What if it is that goat which was stolen? And that is why he didn't eat meat for that long of a goat. That is the taqwa of the ulama kiram, because they did their utmost to stay away from haram.